Welcome, everyone. Today we have the illustrious Eddie Long Jr., and we're going to be talking about legacy, leadership, and redemption. So, my guest knows what it means not only to live under a great name, but also to carve one out for himself and to also carve out for himself. His story is not just about inheritance, it's about identity. And he's an author, a minister, a modern day disruptor. Please welcome Eddie Long Jr.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Dr. Trimm. It is a wonderful honor to be in your presence today, along with your entire cohort and all of the delegates and those who will be participating to end our year strong. So I'm excited to be here and thank you again.
Yeah, this all started with you. We had a
Yeah.
conversation about bloodline. And then together we decided, hey, we need to offer this at End Your Year Strong. And now it's a reality. And I'm just happy to be talking to you. And those of you that are joining in, we're having a conversation about End Your Year Strong. And the theme is disruptors. And our guest panelist is going to be discussing bloodline. But before we get there, I have something called rapid questions, and you give quick answers. So, if you were to recommend one book outside the Bible that changed your life, what book would it be?
Wow, that's a wonderful question. I don't say this to push it. I don't say this to just reach for the lowest hanging fruit, if you will. But I would definitely say one of my dad's books. The first one that's coming to mind, and my father, as you mentioned, being Bishop Eddie Long, is 60 Seconds to Greatness. It is a book, it was his first writing where he was stepping outside of just being a bishop and a pastor and really coming with a message that could reach the quote unquote secular audience. And you remember that era back in the 2000s where a lot of pastors were trying to take off their title and just put their government name on their book to cross over, if you will. And this was his first time doing that. And when I read it, it put urgency on everything that I'm doing. And I still live in that space to this day. The power of NOW, the power of now.
Mm,
And when you talk about 60 seconds to greatness, he opened up and he gave some metrics or some numbers concerning people like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. And I remember even Denzel Washington, all of those who he broke down how much their income is per second,
mhm,
how much their income is per minute. And it
mhm,
revolutionizes the way that we look at our wages, the way that we look at our contracts, and where we spend our time to understand the value of a second. And so
mhm,
many people really attach themselves even to you because you don't waste time. But everything that you speak, everything that oozes out of you is valuable. And so I look at people through that lens of either in this time, I'm to give value to them in that short blip of time, or there's something that I'm supposed to receive. Not to make relationships transactional, but to be aware of what is God doing in this second, in this moment. As Paul says again, it is now faith. And when we move in the NOW, if you turn NOW around, it spells WON, which is
wow.
one. So if
Yeah.
we move in the now, we've already won.
Come on, come on. That's a whole message. That's a whole sermon. Your, if you were to choose one country to decompress,
Hmm.
and what would that country be and why?
You know, my wife and I, we both, our birth dates are back to back, October 6th and October 8th. And so we just got back this Wednesday from,
My
from traveling.
sister's is the seventh.
Oh, wow. So she's
So now
right
you got
ahead
the
of us.
sixth, seventh, eighth.
And that's when we did our birthday dinner. We just did it on the 7th in between both of ours. And
Hmm.
so we just came back from traveling over to Portugal, and we just take it upon ourselves to just tap into different countries. I took the long route. When I leave home, I like to see as many places as I can along the way. And so I went through Amsterdam. I went and stopped by the red light district even and saw people out there ministering and all of that. But to answer your question, in my travels, I really like Ibiza. I really like Ibiza. Just off the coast of Spain, it's you know me, they call me the party pastor, so I'm always going to bring the life and make sure that we turn up, but it's a wonderful place to also turn down. Ibiza, the island of Ibiza is the place for me.
It's gorgeous. If you were stranded on an island for 7 days, who would you want to be stranded with? Past, present, or biblical? And what would you talk about for those 7 days?
Great question. Is there a cap on how many people?
One person.
One person. I gotta say my dad. I got so many questions. I got so many bones to pick with him. And then I got so many apologies to extend to him as well concerning things that he was trying to tell me that I wasn't picking up on in certain times, that now as a father, as a husband, as one who is coming into their own, those aha moments. I think the conversation would be dynamic, and the revelation of God that he lived in the earth. I would just want to hear from him. What is it like now on the other side that you have experienced on the other side, to then bring out of eternity and back into time and share with me now?
That's so amazing. Favorite comfort food?
Peach cobbler.
Really?
Yes. I'm a Georgia boy. I'm a Georgia boy to the core. So a good crust within a nice warm breaded peach cobbler. Oh, that's an amazing day right there.
Okay. Favorite cuisine?
I can't decide between the two, but I want to go with soul food. Again, I'm from the dirty South, coupled with Mediterranean food.
Oh, yes. Yes. And then my final question. One gift or quirky gift that you have that people don't know about?
I'm trying to be respectful to your audience. I gotta go and get my internals checked out, because I can pass gas on demand. Please forgive me. That's just the first thing. It's quirky. It totally fits your question, but I gotta get this under control now, because it's kind of outrageous.
It's like frat boy activities. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for just letting us know a little bit about you. Some inherit wealth, others inherit mission. Eddie Long inherited a mentor. I want you to stay tuned, but watch this, and we'll be right back.
God is getting ready to do something incredible. Something supernatural is about to happen. You're coming out of the grave. God is raising you up. Your dreams are coming out. I feel something turning. You're getting your power back. We are standing on the edge of glory. You are about to rip eternity's curtains and pull them back. You are coming out of your cave. 2025, something good is about to happen.
Year Strong 2025. Our theme this year is the disruptor. We couldn't think of anyone better to be leading our panel discussion on bloodline. And we want to welcome each one of you back to our conversation. So, Eddie Long Jr., you're proof that legacy doesn't end with one man, it multiplies through many. Growing up as a son of a spiritual giant, what lessons from your father most shaped the man and minister you are today?
Praise God. Wonderful question. I once heard a gentleman state that the best sermons are not preached, but they are lived. They are lived. And that is why fatherhood, motherhood, sonship, daughtership, and if you don't have that available to you, then mentorship. But some ship, you got to get on some ship, is so important. We can read books, we can listen to podcasts, check in on blogs, etc. But to do life with someone, I believe, is the most transformative expression that any of us can have. And so by being able to hear my dad's sermons be preached, not only at New Birth, not only in the churches before we came to New Birth, with Cedartown Baptist and other ministries and churches all around the world, outside of the churches, and many secular spaces and political arenas and all of that. The best sermon that he preached to me was a sermon with his life for what was out in front, matching what was behind the veil. And
Mm.
that teaches authenticity. It teaches integrity. I believe that integrity is what we do, what we say, and our enlightenment all being aligned.
Mhm.
True integrity. And so
Mm.
that is what resonates most when I think of my father and the experience of being his son is the authenticity and integrity of the message off the pulpit before it's ever preached to the masses.
Mhm. That's really good because you wrote this book, Son of a Bishop,
Hmm.
and you talk about vulnerability in a vulnerable way, the challenges as well as the blessings. So, what three truths do you want people to walk away with from End Your Year Strong based on what you reveal in your book?
That's good. That is good. I was sitting and thinking about our conversation today,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been in this space at the Long Centers. That's our familial legacy center that my siblings and I, my cousins, my uncles, and all that we launched. And I've been talking a good bit about energy because we are energy. We exude energy. We receive energy. We exchange energy. And for those who are coming, we have these forms of energy. One being potential energy, another being kinetic energy, and then another being inertia. And I can go into sub levels and
Mm-hmm.
many things that you're very familiar with. And so I recognize that a lot of people are coming into In Your Year Strong with that desire to end strong. Some have attended the conference, the summit last year, previous years, as you've been doing this for approximately a decade or more. When we think about potential energy, it's the energy that we're sitting on, the energy that all of us have, the calling, the purpose, the opportunity that we all have, but we have not begun to do anything with it. And energy sits in three forms. It sits in a state, it sits in a position, and it sits in an arrangement. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna say that again. It sits in a state, it sits in a position, and it sits in an arrangement. And so all of us have a certain mental state. We may have the mental state of being defeated, or we may have the mental state of, as my dad would say, going from vision to victory. And so I would love to see people walk out of this dialogue, this conversation, all the speakers that you have coming, this Bloodlines panel, in the right mental state, in the right mindset. Let this mind that was in Christ be in us as well. All of us got into our positions based on the energy of someone else. It took the energy of my two parents to produce me. It took my wife and my energy to produce our seed. But we don't have to stay there. We get a chance to move on from one state into a new glory, into another level. And so would love to see people getting into the right state. Number two is the position. When I
Mm-hmm.
think about the gentleman who was sitting at the pool, he was in a certain position because of his mindset, because of his mental state. And Jesus comes along and says, hey, it's time to adjust your mindset. It's time for your position to shift. And position, we can go a lot of ways with that. It could be literally the direction that we're facing. It could be where we're employed. It could be the status of our business, whatever it may be, your church, where you sit in
Mm-hmm.
service or leadership. But it's important to understand that we have the opportunity, and you have curated this. God has single-handedly selected Dr. Cindy Trimm to
Mm-hmm.
cultivate this moment as we come out of one year going into the next, that our position can be changed. So that's number two, that our position changes. And then number three, the arrangement. Now, we understand that the adversary, the enemy, or as Bishop T.D. Jakes says, sometimes the enemy, inner me, can
Mm-hmm.
set a trap or a snare for us. Joseph's brothers did it, but what they thought was going to be used for his bad, God used it for his good.
Good.
And so there's an arrangement. There are all types of arrangements, and we have to decide if we're going to be caught up in it. Are we going to be caught up in the arrangement that the adversary has to polarize us and keep us in a position of just potential? potential energy, possibilities. Those things are great, but if we do nothing with it, then what comes of it? But yet Jesus finds this man at the pool and he says, I understand the arrangement that you settled for, but I've come to rearrange things. I've come to shift things. You don't have to end like this. What does it say? That our latter should be better than our former. And so that's a rearranging of our situation. It's a rearranging of energy. It's a rearranging of trajectory. And so through these conversations that we have on this panel, that's the third thing, is for people to walk away knowing that their situation is rearranged, even if it hasn't physically changed, just because of our mind, just because of our thoughts, just because of our prayers and the energy and how we direct that energy in faith that it's been rearranged.
I love this because, we're talking and I hear the voice. I think it's of your 2-year-old son, which is beautiful.
Uh-huh.
And we're having a conversation doing life in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And what you have alluded to is so very powerful, that disruption is less about what you do and more about how you think. You can't disrupt your environment or disrupt industries or disrupt the way your life is going without firstly disrupting your mindset. And many millennials and Zers, Generation Z, are searching for, how should I think about the world that I live in? We're living in Industry 4.0. What would you say to them about salvation and how salvation is the ultimate disruption that will give them the success and prosperity that they're looking
First thing, even talking to myself, talking to my peers, as you mentioned, this trip that we just went on, there were about 7 of us, and we had a lot of dynamic dialogue. You can imagine being with 7 people from Georgia, Florida, Philadelphia, and beyond, who some go to church, some stream, some have church hurt, some like me are practitioners in the faith. Very dynamic conversation. And number one, the silver lining that I picked up on is that many of us are tainted. Many of us are tainted because of what we've seen. And so we have this sort of negative connotation to the gospel. So I would beckon, I would ask, I would request, I plead to give it another shot, give it another opportunity. Look at it with fresh eyes. Look at it with fresh and new eyes. When the Lord is speaking to Abraham, he says, look, I want you to look to the north, to the south, to the east, and to the west. And as far as your eyes can see, I'm releasing this. This is your promise. This is the blessing. And so look again. Look again. Just look to the north, the south, east, and west. And don't look at what's going on, but look at what can be. There are a lot of bad things that are happening in the world. People ask the question all the time. Many agnostic, many atheists, which are part of my generation, would say, well, if God loves people, why would he let Gaza and what's happening there be taking place there? Why would this be happening here? And why would that be happening there if God truly loves us? And so that's looking at it for what it is. But we look at it for what it can become. Look again. Because God takes bad things and restores them. The
I
words
love this, because what if it is not us waiting on God? There's a quote: the only thing necessary for evil to thrive is for good people to do nothing.
to be
What
absent.
if it is not about God? What if it's all about us?
Oh man, you jump right in my head,
Mhm.
because the word you use is salvation. The root of salvation is to salvage something. So
Mhm.
salvation means, listen, I'm taking bad things, or to your point, I purpose you to be the solution to the problems that you see when you look to the north, when you look to the south, when you look to the east or to the west. What they say, if not me, who? And if not now, when? And so I'm calling you not to sit on the bench, not to be in the stands, not to just buy a ticket to get into the game, but I am calling you to be a player. I'm calling you to get on the field. And so just as I've taken your mess and I'm turning it into your mess edge, meaning your mess for this age, a message, a mess for this age, you're a solution to a problem. I'm calling you to salvage or be the salvation, as we call in this panel bloodlines. That's what it is. I'm the interruption into some things. My dad did some wonderful things, but I get a chance to capitalize on what he didn't get right.
Mm.
Others of us who are on, if you're upset, hey, my grandmother didn't do this, my parents were abusive to me, we can't change that, but all of us have an opportunity to be the demonstration of how it should have been and how it should be going forward. We
Mm.
don't like how the government is being ran, then get involved, because you're called to salvage the mess. You don't like how things are taking place economically, then gird yourself up. Become more knowledgeable about finances so that you can be the problem solver, the one that salvages the mess. I can go on and on and on, but that's the message that is being perpetuated from myself and my cohort, that we are the ones. Bishop Stephen Davis, my father's choice for succession, he says it all the time. I am the one. And if you wake up in the morning with that attitude, then you can put any other adjective behind that three-letter phrase. I am the one that is the disruptor. I
Mm.
am the one that is to salvage. I am the one that is to bring salvation. I am the one. God, you don't have to look for anybody else. You can do it through me.
Mhm.
They turned it down, but I'm going to turn it up. Listen.
Wow. I mean, just as you're talking, I can feel the energy. You talked about the energy earlier, but I could feel that energy really connecting with those people that lost momentum, that lost their passion, that lost their faith, and somehow they're feeling spiritually disconnected. You know, give us some practical steps that this generation of disconnected individuals who have actually given up on the church, lost their momentum, give them some practical steps so that they can end their year strong.
I love it. You know, grief. We all are in some stage of grief.
Hmm.
And one of the most important steps in grief is the step of acceptance. They talk about it being 5 stages. Some psychologists argue that there are more, but we'll stick with those 5 primary steps. And so, one, as you talked about specifically, grievances. There we go again, that word grief and grievances with the church. Accept that the church is full of humans, is full of people. And anywhere that we have people, we stand a chance to have some problems. And so, as we can accept that quicker, then now we know how to set our expectations. Because as we are living together, Bishop T.D. Jakes said this. My friend Rico Love, he had dinner with Bishop Jakes about 2 months ago. He and our buddy Joel Tutman, and Bishop Jakes said this to that collective. He says, "Yeah, we're living together, but we're also dying together."
Mm.
And when we understand that people are worried about a lot, people are concerned about a lot of things in the church. They're concerned, am I good enough? They're concerned with their position concerning hierarchy. They're concerned with all kinds of things that make them show themselves in ways that just aren't good. Think about Cain and Abel.
Mhm.
Cain kills his brother because his offering wasn't good enough. That was really a struggle with, well, what am I to do with my life if God doesn't accept what I give him?
Mhm.
That's a struggle. And so accepting that in the church, we're dealing with people. Now, you asked me to give practical steps. When my father transitioned, and you know some of this, there were all kind of promises made to me. There were all kind of things that he established that were not honored. And like many of my fellow pastors' offsprings, they have turned from the church. They have turned to all types of lifestyles. But I had to sit down and realize my salvation, my soul, and the purpose on my life, I cannot give that energy,
Mm.
that
Yeah.
hallelujah. I can't give that dictation and that control over to anybody else.
Listen, you're bringing up a law, the
Mm,
law of non-resistance.
mm,
You meant it for evil, God meant it for good.
mhm.
You can't control anything outside of yourself. You can't even control your two babies. They're 1 and 2.
Well, my wife.
Try to dominate them. Go ahead, try. They're going to wake up when they want, sleep when they want. It's a beautiful lesson
Mm-hmm.
of self mastery. And I think that once you master yourself and you understand that you cannot control anything outside of you,
Mm-hmm.
can control your own life, your own destiny, your own mindset, and your own energy. And you practice four things, I think. You practice number one, being impeccable with your words and your vows that you're
Mm-hmm.
making to yourself. Number two, you don't take anything personal. People are
Mm.
people. That's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, you show up and you own your life. You talked about it earlier about managing 60 seconds. How are
Mm-hmm.
you managing your time? And then number four, you do the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
That's with what you got. And if a person understands that there's nobody in this world that is responsible for their success, prosperity, happiness, joy, peace, not even your wife, not even my husband. This is my responsibility. It goes back to something that was instructed to Joshua. This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but
Mm.
you shall meditate on it day and night, and you will make your way prosperous, and you will have good success.
Good.
So, progress, prosperity, and success is not the responsibility of government, your pastor, your wife, your husband. It is your individual responsibility. And if a person takes 100% responsibility for their lives, it's easy to forgive, right?
That's good. That's
Yeah, you
good.
forgive. I grew up without a father. It's easy for me to say, oh, I don't feel bad towards that. Why? Because he gave me life. And the only thing that I needed from him was that seed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful to be alive. So I don't hold my father, what he did or didn't do, responsible for where I am today.
Right.
This book of the Lord. So, you talked about it. You talked about potential, mindset, the thoughts you're thinking about yourself. And it's fantastic that you have this grasp of taking responsibility for your life and your next. Um, I'm excited to have you for many reasons because you've walked the walk and now you're coming back and you're saying, hey, this is my perspective. But I want to ask you another question.
Yes, ma'am.
As you step into your future and you perceive your future, what vision has God placed in your heart for ministry and for impact?
I love that. And for those who are watching, you see I'm looking down. Every time this woman speaks, I'm taking notes. So as you are listening to this conversation, again, 60 seconds to greatness. Don't let anything slide by you. If I'm taking notes, you better be taking them too. Vision at this juncture, a lot of people have spoken or tried to will into me to start my own church. And I haven't done that for two reasons. Number one, I never want to have my own church. If it is not the Lord's church, then I don't want it in the first place.
Mm,
I believe that we may have too many people with their own churches, but unless
mm,
the Lord builds the house, then I don't want to be doing anything in vain.
mhm,
Number two is during pivotal moments, I usually hear audibly from the Lord,
mhm,
or there's usually a pull at me that I
mhm,
just can't disconnect from.
mhm,
And I don't have either concerning planting a church.
mhm,
Where I am in this season of life, I would love to honestly help someone undergird their vision.
mhm,
My father, on paper, left me on contract as a teaching pastor at New Birth.
mhm,
And that is what is still pulling at my heart. And I've begun to understand it really in this year that by having two children, a 4-year marriage, the weight of carrying a ministry, that grace may not be extended to me right now
mhm,
because I have an opportunity to do what my dad didn't and be present in my son's life. I take him
mhm,
to school every day, pick him up from school every day. I'm able to be here and be itinerant and travel and preach on the weekends.
Mhm.
So by being involved in a local church and congregation, to continue to be part of a community of faith locally
Mhm.
and undergird someone's vision is ideal for me right now within the church structure. I tell people all the time, I do have the grace in the right season to be David or Joseph. David being number two, I'm sorry, being number one, or Joseph being a number two. I am second. Then
Mhm.
outside of the church construct, you notice very well, I am a mover. I am a mover. And so I have some productions that I have lined out and am lining out to hit the road, to hit the road. And so if you may be streaming this right now, I may be knocking on your door and saying, hey, I've got something I want to bring to your ministry, to your church, or to your city that involves youth. It involves civic engagement. It involves government. It involves many of the seven mountains through productions that people do exactly what we've been doing in this dialogue. Come unto themselves, the
Mhm.
purpose that they're to walk in, and the problems that they are on this earth to solve.
Mhm. This is very, very powerful. What I love about this is you're sharing your heart.
Mm.
And it's a heart to heart conversation that we're having with you. And I thank you for your openness.
Yes, ma'am.
And manhood. I said that was my last question, but something is just bubbling up in my spirit. I just finished forwarding a book that
Mm.
someone wrote about manhood and
Mm.
what is needed to raise sons and what is missing in our community, not only in our community, but in the body of Christ. And that is, man being raised up as leaders.
Mm-hmm.
What is missing? What are the elements that's missing? And what can we do about it?
So many elements, and I won't try to put them in any type of hierarchical or chronological order, but accountability would
Mm.
definitely be one. Introspection.
Mhm.
I'm seeing people who want to be influencers. That's a thing with our generation. All of these things that are external. But if we can't lead ourselves, if we can't be honest with self, if we can't be introspective, then where are we leading others to? And what are we broadcasting to others? You
Mhm.
know, there was a mission that NASA had. They had a satellite that
Mhm.
needed to be repaired. And so they sent the repair unit and crew and all out. And the metrics, the numerical metrics were correct, but they missed the mark when they launched. Why did they miss the mark? They missed the mark because they were using the wrong metric table.
Mm.
My point is that we can study all of these external things and project all of these things, but if what is in us isn't situated properly, then we can cause someone to miss the target. And so we got to be operating with the right metrics. We got to be resolved within ourselves about some things. We got to settle some stuff so that we're not infecting others. Although we mean good, we're not infecting others. I watched this podcast and Joel Tutman was speaking and he shared that he got into his 40s and realized that he didn't know who he was. He knew what he does, what it is that he does, but he does not know who he is. And those are two different things. I'm a communicator, minister, speaker, radio personality, DJ, host, etc. That's what I do. But who am I?
Mm.
And in order for me to find out who I am, I got to go back to whose I am. And
Mm.
so, as you mentioned about my generation and running from church and running from quote unquote religion and all these things, we cannot find out who we are disconnected from the source of whose we are.
Mm.
Because when we connect to whose we are, we find our identity. And as I mentioned, then these other attributes are fortified.
Mm.
These
Mic drop. Mic drop. That is so powerful. Identity. And those of you that are listening, Eddie Long is going to be one of our guests. Pastor Eddie Long is going to be one of our guests and panelists. And I love it because we have an opportunity in an authentic way,
Hmm.
with integrity, to just open our hearts and deal with some of the hard issues and some of the hard issues. And if this conversation has awakened anything in you as you listen, I don't want it to stop here. I want you to join us at End Your Year Strong 2025. The information is at the bottom of the screen. We're going to converge experience with the energy and the power of the Holy Spirit so that you have real time transformation firsthand in every 60 seconds that tick by. God bless all of you. Please stay tuned and watch this.
God is getting ready to do something incredible. Something supernatural is about to happen. You're coming out of the grave. God is raising you up. Your dreams are coming out. I feel something turning. You're getting your power back. We are standing on the edge of glory. You are about to rip eternity's curtains and pull them back. You are coming out of your cave. 2025, something good is about